In today's video, we'll be talking about the new album by the band Wind Rose called Warfront. This is an Italian power and folk metal band. They were founded in 2009. They got 5 studio albums. The band is very interesting. They center their lyrics around J.R.R. Tolkien and Lord of the Rings. So they are very fantasy oriented. They are an interesting band. I've only listened to one song from them, and that is Diggy Diggy Hole from 2019. For some reason, this song was always like added to my streaming playlists like back then, and I've listened to it so many times. It's like stuck in my head. It's just one of those weird songs that it just always stuck with me. But this wasn't the band that I got interested in after listening to that song. I never really listened to their other albums, but this is the type of band that, you get what you expect what you would get. It's like the type of music you would expect like a group of dwarves to sing before going into battle. That's really what it is. It's very fantasy oriented, like European style power metal. It's very melodic. There's some good stuff here, but there are lots of guitar riffs and, there's some catchy choruses here. So let's talk about that. The album has 10 songs. It's 54 minutes long. What I like about the band is that, they know who their audience is. They're fans of like fantasy novels and people who probably play Dungeons and Dragons or World of Warcraft. The music is consistent. They don't stray from their formula. The musicianship is good and the production is good on the album. I mean, it has a nice sound to it. Now, what I don't like about this is that they are kind of unoriginal. Like some of the songs sound the same. They don't really have lots of memorable guitar riffs. The album is about like 10 minutes longer than a typical album, and it kind of feels long at times, because the songs, there's not really like a lot of variation with the songs. They're not very original, with the exception of like the album ends with a ballad, which is one that I like a lot, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. So the album starts with Of War and Sorrow. This is an instrumental. A lot of bands like to start with instrumentals, but it sounds like the intro to a fantasy movie. It has a very cinematic sound, has a melody driven by piano and violin. It's a short song. It sets the stage for the rest of the songs and kind of goes right into the next song called Army of Stone. This one has a very big cinematic sound, but more of a power metal type of song. You can hear the distorted guitars in the background as well as the lead guitar melodies. The vocals are very melodic, power style. They are similar to like the band Sabaton, but instead of singing about war, these are about like dwarves going into battle. There's a quiet breakdown towards the end of the song that kind of adds some variety. Then that goes into Tales of War. That one has a very epic intro, and it kind of reminded me of a theme to a video game, but the song kicks into gear. It's actually heavy and fast-paced. The guitar sounds a little chunkier on this song, and there's some keyboards in the background. The vocals are the same, a very epic power metal style. The song injects some energy into the pace of the album. Like the other songs, we get some tempo changes, and that really helps things keep everything interesting. Then Fellows of the Hammer. On this song, they bring back more of that melodic sound. This one has a very cinematic and epic sound. It evokes images of dwarves sitting in an old tavern drinking beer in celebration of winning a battle. It's a catchy song. Some of the lyrics are repetitive, but like most of the other songs, they paint a picture of a different world. And that's kind of like the world where they live in. Together We Rise is a song that they slow down a little. They bring like a slow building epic sound, lots of symphonic elements and some choir style vocals in the background. The heavy guitars are still present, but this one has a nice chugging rhythm, has a nice level of energy with distorted guitars carrying the rhythm nicely. They add some folk elements with acoustic guitars during the breakdown, but the song gets heavy afterwards. Gates of Ekrund, this one sounds right out of like a video game interlude, kind of like that type of sound where you expect to hear like a female narrator start telling you a story about wizards and warriors. It's a very epic sounding power metal, just like the rest of the album. The song is like the other ones. It's epic power metal. It paints a picture of, dwarves getting ready to go into battle. I know I like said that before, but that's kind of like what this album gives you. You get some like nice violin melodies towards the end, and something you get a lot with this album and this band in general. One Last Day. This one is a little slower. You know, it's still very epic. The one thing that stood out on this song is the keyboards that kind of almost have like this like xylophone style, and like the main riffs are played with like a violin tone. So that's pretty cool. The song has a nice level of energy with a steady drum beat and a very big sound. The Battle of Five Armies, this is a good song. It has some speed and energy. The drum beat is fast and full of energy, and it provides a backdrop for the epic sounding folk metal melodies. This one has a very big sound. This one stands out because you hear the soft violin sounding melodies behind the heavy guitars. The song has like so many different layers. There's a softer breakdown about halfway through the song's length, and it's kind of a long song as well. It's like nearly 7.5 minutes. I Am the Mountain. This is another song over 7 minutes long. It seems to have lots of different layers. This one has a decent melody and galloping guitars. The vocals on this one actually sound kind of operatic, and there are like layers of vocal tracks. Kind of gives it a very big sound. I think this one has some melodies that kind of remind me a little of like Iron Maiden at times. And it does have some like heavy stuff, like some heavy machine gun riffing, and the outro was soft, so it kind of made for a nice transition to the last song, which is Tomorrow Has Come. And this is the last song on the album, and they ended with like a folk metal ballad. And I think it's very good because the sound is very like stripped down. It's kind of like them doing like an unplugged performance with like, you know, different like stringed instruments. This one has lots of melody and orchestration, and the song does get pretty heavy at the end, so I thought that worked very well. The vocals here are very good because you can hear the vocalist. He's not like doing those like, you know, going into battle types of, you know, like heavy vocals. These are very soft. He's more like singing, and I like that aspect of it. And this is actually a good song. I think it's probably my favorite song on the album, actually, and it really closes out the album nicely. So in conclusion, it's a decent album. You know, I'm not saying it's great, but I think if you're a fan of this type of music, you might think it's, you know, a good album. Maybe you like it more than I did, but I didn't really find anything memorable on the album, except for that last song, which is one that I think I do like a lot. But with that being said, the album has lots of energy. They evoke images of fantasy and battle, and you know, I'm sure that's their intention with this album. I don't know, maybe it will grow on me for a little more, but for now, it's a 7 out of 10, which is a decent score. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just, you know, that's just what I'm giving it. So let me know in the comments what you thought. And that is all. I have some more stuff coming up. David Bowie, the rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust, 50-year anniversary. And some more new releases. So thanks for watching. See you in the next